special guests early on, and these are really important things for this many people in town to hear. So we're glad you're here and you share what you hear. Our special guests are going to present what they're here for first. And we have, you've met Leo Lester, the one here. Leo Lester was here with the kayaks, and he's working on our kayak docks, etc. But also interested in what our other guests are here for. Mike Pennant is here, and he is with PSD in several different places, and he wants to talk with us about something special and share it for Brownville. We have Stacy Fowler with the engineering firm of Thompson and Litton, and this is going to be, I think, all new to all of you. I don't know that any of you lived here before when we tried to get water up Pinnacle Mountain. It was tried in 2004, and then it was tried again a few years later. And we haven't been able to, it's like, there's no money. But now, did you know that starting at Haynes Holler, there is no public water? There is no public water at Pinnacle Rock. So our guest, Mike Pennant, I guess our new spokesperson for the three, and he's going to speak to you. You can stand if you want to.
Well, let's get started and tell you that I'm an old Bramble. Back in 19, I won't tell you how old.
I'm not telling you.
Okay. 1966.
Good year.
And it's good to be here. We were tasked back in 2019 as the Mercer County Public Service District. And our purpose is to get water and sewer to outlying areas in the county that do not have it. You know, you have Bluefield, Preston, Green Valley, Blue Whale, those areas there. But how many, 60% of the county does not have good potable drinking water. That's our goal, is to get water to those folks. Well, about a year after we were going, I was confronted with some friends of mine that I used to work with, live on Pinnacle Rock area. They wanted to know what we were going to do. I said, well, I don't know what we'll do, but we'll try. Well, you know how politics and everything else falls into line, then COVID fell in there. So things got delayed, but now we have some money available through the ARPA plan and through some other funding that Stacy's going to elaborate on. And we're going to try to at least go after this funding again. Now, one thing we need to know is how many people live from the point to where the water stops up to and including Pinnacle Rock, and who we have to contact, because they have to go along with it. Or if you have a list, then that would be appreciated too, okay? Now, one thing we need to be aware of is that the money source can be here one day and gone the next. We're aware of that. And I know you as a town are very well aware of that. Now, what we do, we have to have these fundings in by December 24th on some of them, Stacey.
Yeah, well, some of them have to be constructed
by then, but we have to get this money, get this thing moving along. That's where you come into the picture. Because of Bramble, you are the town. Now, we talked to Lou about maybe if you annex that area. If you annex that area and bring those people in, they would have to agree to be part of your town. Now, not only would that help in getting the water, but it would also help your revenue in this town. Okay? Then you have the Hatfield-McCoy deal going on. You're right in the middle of trailheads, okay? Now, that goes a long way with this state right now, and state funding through the government. And right now, we'll let Stacy tell you about what we're looking at and about how much money compared to the old funding, and things have really gone up. So, I'll turn it over to Stacy.
So the project back in 2008 was submitted. The budget they had was $1.5 million. It's $1.5 million. I've done just some quick estimates. I haven't actually broken down the estimate itself, but just applying inflation From that time to now, it looks like it's almost double. That's about 89% inflation. So we're looking at just about a $3 million project. As Mike said, there are a number of funds out there. Of course, our funds are earmarked specifically for infrastructure. And so this would be a good project for those. Just, again, like Mike said, they have to be spent relatively quick. So to be able to use those, we have to move fairly fast. And having a petition and a list of the names of people who want the water up there would definitely be a help in getting that done. The other sources, a number of other places. The health department has money that's available. The infrastructure council, then of course the governor also has his community participation grants that he gives out, and a number more. We would work with the Region 1 Planning Development Council that's located in Princeton to ensure that we try to keep this as much grant funded as possible. And then we would work with PSD to get the project moving and hopefully get water up there pretty quick.
I have a question that maybe everybody wants to know. Would that make our Bramwell water bills be less?
True story.
Not a question that I can answer at this time. And really, that'd be a question the county would have to answer.
If we had more in our system,
It would run the potential, but I just can't answer that now because I don't know what sometimes with these funding sources, some of them will give you a grant, but they also insist that you take one with it. Of course, one then has to be paid back, and that could potentially cause the rates to be adjusted. But at the same time, there's other projects going on that could keep that rate down this way. So it comes down to Bluebell. I think Bluebell PSD is the utility, and so it would depend on what they would need to keep it, basically keep the utility running. I will say with the fuel costs and things that have been skyrocketing, I think even if this doesn't happen, it's going to be utility be hard pressed to keep the bill from increasing, just from fuel costs alone.
Is this going to be water and sewer or just water?
Just
water.
don't you already have sewer up that way?
I'm not sure about. I'm not sure if
Lacey, you
Do you
have?
have specific contractors in this general area that can actually take on this project? Qualified.
There are some in this area. However, if you have the state funds, you're required to bid the project out. There are some contractors that are not in this area that are very, very good. But there are some in this area that are very good as well. So I know one that they did a number of our projects is Main Street Builders in Princeton. They bid successfully on a number of our projects. But again, it would just be open, it would be open to everyone that would have a chance to do it.
Now, one thing, let me say, the more customers you have in your base, then the less your bill. That's the normal. Now, the public service district has to come up with the tariff. They're the ones they have to have the final say on.
The one in Charleston.
Yeah.
Now that they're here, anybody who has questions? Yes, Lisa?
I have another one, so I do infrastructure all day long. So are you talking about phasing it in over a year, 2 years? Like you said, you have to start the project.
Yeah, well, basically you'll have your planning stage, which is what we're just beginning, and then once you get the funding committed, you'll do the design, once the design's complete, you do construction. Depending on when those funding agencies put their money in. Yeah, exactly, the Gantt chart, and I've got projects that have set, just waiting for the funding agencies. Everything else is done, we're ready to go. I've got some ready to go to construction, but we're waiting on the funding agency to tell us we can start things.
For years.
Yeah, and so it just depends on when it comes back.
So back to the sewer question, if you're going to run a water line, I would say it's logical to put a sewer line next to it, obviously. And if you're going to do that, then the question I would have is, like Mandy brought up in the mayor brought up, to reduce our water bills, our major part of our water is our sewer system, because it's an antiquated vacuum system. I'd love to see a project to eliminate that and put in a normal gravity-feed pump system.
Well,
We're gonna spend money, I'd rather see that.
Well, as far as putting in the saying you can't, there's actually distance separation requirements. And typically what happens is separation requirements are so high, it's about 10, 15 feet. You end up having to put it on the other side of the road, so you can't put them in at the same time. They're on one side of the road, one on the other. I do know about the vacuum system that you have in here. There are other systems out there, instead of vacuum, actually pressure pumping. I haven't looked at it in depth, but that would be probably have to be a separate project, because the funding agencies I spoke of, some of those are water only, and so you would have to have another project for sewer only. And they typically like to see them done separately, just because of the funding issues that come up if you try to do them together. You have a question?
The other problem,
I can't act here. But I'm right there above the escape ramp, he knows where it's at. They stopped the water right there, we got a business right above there. I got this many names signed on.
Good.
Okay. That's
You
one
have
way.
everybody at Haynes Holler? You have everybody at Haynes Holler? Where you live?
Good address.
Yeah.
I can't hear too good.
Okay, I understand. You have everybody at Haynes Holler?
Yeah,
That's where
I
you
was,
live.
yeah. Got some names and my contact.
Well, that's the, town will have to do that. We don't know what they're found, we don't know what.
I know approximately how far it is out, but
We got a few.
that would be a separate item outside of Yeah, yeah.
This is just the first one. We come to you now, as Mercer County PSD, our goal, and Leo may elaborate on this a little bit, but
I'm going to have to copy this.
sure, she's always starting.
Oh, but it's good driver.
Our PSD is a little different from the other PSD. The other PSDs are working PSDs. They have O&M agreements that work the system. Our purpose, the reason we took this, and we have one board member that's not here, but our goal is to get the water, get the sewer, and we'll turn the key on completely. Okay? We'll get the construction done and the work done, all right, Stacy? Turn the key over, okay? Let them operate. I can care less about drawing a nickel off of anything. I want to see the customers have good, safe drinking, okay? That's our goal. Now, we have other projects. We've got a Pocahontas project, goes all the way into Virginia. We're working with both those states. And Stacy's on that one. And how many meetings is that?
They just went to
Like a $9 million project to upgrade that. That came from one phone call from a gentleman that needed fire hydrant. Well, he can't have fire hydrant, you got the old system. Something has to be done. So we pursued it, now we're in that area. Now, Leo, you want to talk about the Route 19 water, just for a moment. Let these folks know what we do.
what we're doing particularly, if you look at the Region 1 map of where the water service here in Mercer County is, we have about 40% of the population in Mercer County that has clean, safe drinking water. That leaves 60% of the population without. So that's what we were appointed for, is to get clean water to as many people as possible. From the Raleigh County line on Route 19, just barely about 2 miles within the county border is public water, and it stops. And there's nothing from there until you get almost to Spanish Fork for clean water. So that's what we have, what's called the Route 19 water. And we're working with the Cool Ridge Flattop Public Service District to get water down to Route 19, at least down to Camp Creek, and eventually into Nubbins Ridge, Stovall Ridge. We're working with Lashmead PSD on the old Gardner Road and on Brickyard. That's another joint project that we have with PSDs. McComas, which is the Pinnacle Water System. That's another system that we're working to get water. That was an old mining system that we've taken over. And we'll be getting water from Blue Well Public Service District there. Now, all these new projects, by law, we have to have fire hydrants. So all the folks up here, up Pinnacle Rock there, are going to have fire hydrants with this. So that's going to help your fire department get water. It's going to help the town overall. And I can tell you, if you look at Pinnacle Rock State Park, they have a well, and that's their only water source, and it's very expensive to the state. Same way in Camp Creek. The superintendent of Camp Creek is the same gentleman that's over Pinnacle Rock. He can't wait to get water down there. We're having a 3-well system down there. So we're looking at getting water from lots of these state parks that don't have water, the 2 in this county. And just on a personal note, back in 2019, I live on Flat Top, okay, and I do have water. But I have friends and relatives in a little place called Denver's. And in December of 2019, there were 2 fires down there that killed 4 residents, okay? The fire departments came from Summers County, Mercer County, and from Raleigh County. They had to haul water uphill for 3 miles just to fight those fires. And the fire hydrants were frozen. 4 people died because of lack of fire hydrants and water. You know, you think about what's just above your town here, if something catches on fire, you know, you're gonna lose family and friends up there. So that's my main reason for working on the PSD, is to help fire departments get water.
Right. And plus it helps your fire insurance. If you got hydrants low, it helps that fire insurance go down.
And that helps your insurance with your ISO ratings.
So you see what we're into. Brought too much on the plate.
Is that area
It's
in
like
Mont-
eating off of a lot of plates, you know. and
Is
you're-
the area in Montcalm up there where Pig's Farm was that caught fire, is that included in all this that we're working on?
No, that's above us. That project is already funded, am I right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's already played. But this has been going on for about 10 years now, but they haven't finished that project. And my end as a chairman, I want it finished. I guess I'm just, I was raised that way. I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to have meetings about it. I want it done. And give me a yes or no answer. And we'll move it.
We had Annette over here has a question.
Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, sir. I have a question regarding the fire hydrants, being that you brought that up. We recently had a fire on Jones Hill Road, and the fire hydrant was a non-working hydrant, but we didn't know that when there was a fire, and I don't know if the fire department could address that more. But if Blue Well PSD doesn't have enough people to check those fire hydrants, how important is it to put new fire hydrants in if the ones that are here haven't been checked? Because as far as I understand, they're maintained by Blue Well PSD. And we were told that the wind had been a different direction, that other houses could have been lost. You know, there was no fire hydrant working right here in town.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when we do these projects, the limit of our scope is to do the design and watch the contractors when they install it. Once that's done, like Mike said, if the key's turned over to the utility, it is up to the utility to operate and maintain, not just the fire hydrants, but the valves as well. There's a lot of things, it's basically called preventive maintenance. And unfortunately, once that key's turned over, we don't have any control over them. That would be something maybe to take to the Public Service Commission or whomever, I guess that would be who to go to, but I don't know.
Well, I would go to the PSD first.
Yeah, go to the PSD first and find out what they're doing.
I won't say a whole lot on that, but I do know that they have numerous fire hydrants that are not operational. And
Well, it's misleading to think
if
that.
they can't fix it for you, I will take it a step back.
Yeah,
I go to the
go to the public service district locally first, and then to the public service district.
We have another Jessica.
Wouldn't Blue Oak PSD have to buy into adding people to their system for water? Because they're already struggling now with keeping up with water issues.
That would come under an intergovernmental agreement between our PSD and our PSD, plus the town of Brown.
Why are we in question though? Because if all these houses are outside of the town of Brownell, and it is the Blue Wells water.
Well, the water comes through this town, unfortunately. Goes up a certain part of that hill. So it's gonna affect you, okay? The reason I wanted to do this, and they agreed, was if you could annex those people into your system, not only would it help your base and your monthly payment for all the water usage, it would also help in getting the funding. If you have more signatures and all this goes hand in hand, this lady knows how she works in infrastructure, you have to have those numbers or they won't talk.
And there's another numbers game that's played. Once you reach a certain number of customers, okay, and Glenwood Green Valley is over that limit of customers, they do not have to go to the Public Service Commission to set their rates. They go to the county commission. So the more customers a public service district can get, the better off they are in the end if they can get above that magic number. Because if you have to go to Charleston with Public Service Commission, that's a nightmare unto itself, okay? And you may ask just for what you need, but they're gonna knock you back probably, what, 20% or more expensive. So the Public Service Commission never gives a public service district enough to really do their job. So the more customers, the better off the public service districts are.
What's your guesstimate of how many properties this would affect?
I don't know, but 2004 had between 38 and 50, I believe.
That was it.
Was that it? That,
And I
no,
don't
is
know
that
how
homes
much-
or customers, just individuals?
And how much Mr. Jenkins brought the petition? He gave me the list there.
Yeah,
It wasn't
Right
everybody.
there, that little hot dog stand going up the hill.
right. That's
How
what we're
many
talking
are on
about.
that?
Got 13 on here.
But that's just, does that count, Collins Curve and everything over at Pinnacle? Does it count, the people up on Pinnacle who live there?
Yeah, I got them down there. You know, up at Hollow where I live.
Yes, and Collins.
What's that in the,
That's right.
The ideal situation would be to connect where Bramble water lines in, and where Blue Wells in, is connected, you have a closed system. That would be the ideal situation.
Will you be charging the residents a tap-in fee?
it's part of the tariff.
didn't hear. That's Janice.
That would be part of the tariff, that would be established.
And do you know what that fee is for them?
It was 100 for us before. Years ago.
I don't know, that was tariff.
It was 100 per household before.
Yeah, and I've seen that range across the state anywhere from 50 to 300. So it just, it depends on what the Blue LPSD tariff says, and then that's what you have to go by.
Sharon Workman may be able to answer that. Do you remember what your tapping fee was for Brownell Hill Water?
$250?
For which one?
Blue Wells.
But we do have water on Brownell Hill, from here all the way to Colville.
We had it just like, or as long as we've been here, we've had brown water.
Oh, you had it?
We didn't have to.
You didn't have
It was all past us, was we had to get on.
So that has been done, and that was not that many years ago. I think only about 3 years ago was it finished. But this you're saying that we, as a community, what you're asking us to do is to ask for this to be incorporated through the county commission. And Mr. Jenkins is here with the petition of the people of Hannibal who want to be. Now, if that something like that is done, we can't, 2 can, 1 can, whatever, it has to be contiguous. Everybody has to sign in all the way to Pinnacle Rock, including the state who owns Pinnacle Rock. And so Mr. Jenkins has an agreement from his petition of people who want to be a part of Grand Law. And it's up to this town, this council representing this town as to whether or not to proceed with that. And you say we have a time limit for money.
Well,
We've tried this before and there never was money.
first things first, Lou, get the willingness first, get the town to go along with it.
Yeah.
Then we'll take it from there.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll wait on you.
all right. And we can talk about it tonight and say, yes,
So if you're saying, so if 1 or 2 households say they don't want to be part of it,
It stops.
then it gets the whole.
it goes to wherever the last one is. It's contiguous, has to be, one right after the other. And
So if someone in the middle says, I don't want it, then it kind of ruins it for the people passing through.
And Mr. Jenkins has a list of people who are
Right, yeah.
connected one after the other.
We could go up and to the no, basically,
Yeah.
but you couldn't go.
Yeah, so the people, we would have to try to convince the people in the middle, that way it doesn't ruin it for the people passing
All right,
through.
another question.
Would they allow that? Would they say, oh, we're gonna spend $100,000 per household, because that's the math. If you're looking at 30 houses, $3 million, it's $100,000 to hook up a house. So if 6 people say yes and the rest say no, or 1 guy says no, and the first says, well, you're gonna spend $600,000 to hook up 6 houses. Would the state really do that, $100,000 a house?
Well, it depends on where that ends up stopping, but sometimes what happens in that case is we can, with the water line, not with the annexation, but the water line, sometimes we can just go right past that house and pick up a few more houses on the unit.
As long as you don't have an easement problem.
Right. So we try to stay in the road right away to avoid that, so we can go past that water, so they don't want.
Is that a normal price tag for a project like that?
It's a little high for a project, but for that size, it's actually pretty good price.
Now, the thing we need to know, are the numbers correct?
Right.
Exactly what you have.
Yeah, so I'm going off of information that another engineering firm prepared, and so I still haven't verified that yet, because like I say, this is kind of our initial meeting with you, to see if there's interest to pursue it. And then if there is, then at that time, we'll get into those, make sure those numbers are accurate.
If you'll get people you don't know, you get phone numbers, addresses, names, get them to us. That's the key. And Paul also gets from the council. That's the key, this council. Let's put the heat on it. We don't need to make that decision and try to help these folks.
Well, I know that in 2008 when we tried it, I know that everybody in the town was willing to help get the water up there, but it didn't turn out. But we had Region 1 help with
But
that.
that was a funding issue with money.
Well, there just wasn't money,
Like,
and they didn't know where they could get funds. Now we have some money that we need to spend with people who do not have potable water.
What's the cutoff date? Can I ask that question? Of this thing?
You said
Goes away?
December of 2024.
that's all.
That's on certain funds.
That's what I'm asking.
December
They did.
24th.
I mean, we got sewer when they,
They did put that.
That's assuming that they haven't already. That's the
That's the American Recovery Fund, ARPA funds we call it. That's distributed by the county commission. Now it's back on again, okay? It was closed for a little bit, now it's back on. We got called in for tomorrow, and then they moved it up to next month. We've got a couple of projects that we're asking for substantial money. We get this thing kind of shoot in, if you say, yes, let's try to go with it, then we can go with them and say, hey, we need part of this money come tomorrow, then the rest of it through forgivable loan.
A lot of our projects don't have one, they have 3 or 4 different things. Such as AML, abandoned mine lands, there's 2 particular funds that are available. You've got HUD small city block grants, you've got all kinds of loans out there, some forgivable. There's economic development grants that if you look at, yeah, it's called a funding package for a project, okay? We look at a lot of different funding sources. Like Matoka, we have AML grants, and there's four funding agencies on the Matoka Sewer project.
So that's just get that system back up to standard.
Jackie,
You said, no, it was for you. You said that we have money that we need to spend. Where's this money?
no,
Oh,
they
thank you.
have, they have.
Their money. Oh,
We're talking about your own.
I like this lady.
So you,
My grandson.
and Kelly up here has a question.
Mike, so you need a list as soon as possible then?
Yeah,
And that's what we should do.
Is tomorrow too quick?
Sometime after midnight, it'll be fine.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned expanding, allowing them to be within the town of Greenville.
Well, that's just a thought now. That's strictly on the town.
Okay.
You'd have to go through the process and ask these people, do you want to be part of this? Because it's going to help you with a lot of things. It'll help you with your tax situation, it's going to help the town and revenue coming in off these folks. Plus, it's going to help their, anything that happens to that water line, you're going to fall right over.
Well, I'm complete, I don't have a problem with them being inside the town where it comes to, especially water, that's what Blue Well tells us often, is that's why our water is so high. I mean, granted, I have more people that live in my house than anybody in this town, but when I moved from Glenwood and I was on Green Valley water to Bramwell, my water went up ×4, just in moving from one house to another, 15 minutes down the road from Green Valley to Blue Well. So Bramwell water is just high. No matter who it is, it's high. So bringing them into the town would be one thing, but I know that we have residents or people that are very close to the town that want to be included in the town and have had a hard time making that happen. So I'm wondering how difficult that would be to just get them included into the town of Bramwell.
We could do it all at the same time.
Okay, so even like people on Bramwell Hill, we could get them all included at one time?
Yeah, that's what we're going to discuss tonight.
We could do that one project. That would be one project.
I've got a question, Louise.
Yes, sir.
1984, Reginald Sexton and Joe Vinciguerra borrowed the money to put this sewer system in. They financed it for 30 years. This sewer system should have done been paid off. And they're gouging us every month for sewer, for the amount of water you use.
Right.
So why-
Maybe we need to address that.
Why hasn't it
with
paid off?
PSD.
That's PSD.
PSD.
It was financed for 30 years, you know that.
I remember. And that's why we had that vacuum system that you're talking about, which was obsolete when it was put in.
But Kelly, that's a matter of like the tolls on 77, they were put in to pay for a road, how long ago, and now the tolls are $4 a piece, they ain't never going away. I mean, they might have initiated to pay it off, but now it's just maintaining and money, that's not.
Well,
Well, Bramwell had their own water system, they read their own meters,
Right.
and then they been hanging around Blue Well, and they started price gouging.
So we should go back to the Blue Well PSD with that question.
If this was strictly a Bramwell PSD, it would be a whole lot different. But now that Bramwell has combined with Blue Well, Blue Well has their projects already lined up. If these folks need water, they're going to be at the back of the list. So,
And it's up to us to put them higher
higher up on the list.
if we decide.
and all the pieces they have to fall in place.
Yes.
We may get shot down like quick.
And you go to county commission next week, you say?
That's
Next month.
June 13th.
Okay.
In terms of water bills, to give you some idea, It's like Pinnacle Water, they're in the comments. We wanted to get a water rate per 1,000 gallon, like from West Virginia American Water. Per 1,000 gallon, they were gonna charge us $13.81 for 74 cents per gallon. Okay?
For a single gallon?
Per thousand, okay? We've got a bulk water rate from Blue Well for that. That is $6 and something odd cents for that. So that's how your water bills are. Like West Virginia American Water, I don't know if you listen or watch the news very much, they have put in for another 20% increase on their water bills that everybody's gonna pay on that tariff. So I live, like my water bill, where I live on my PSD, 4-inch blacktop PSD, minimum of 3,000 gallons per home, which is two of us, it averages about $29 a month. We don't have sewer.
Our minimum is $90 a month.
We don't have sewer, okay? We don't have sewer.
It's $76.
Well, let's get it.
If you don't turn it
You know
on.
what they charge me? $63 something.
So Mr. Jenkins said they already have
See, they put a
sewer.
solar up there, but they didn't.
Oh, you do have sewer, they were talking about that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
That was a business
That's pretty
question.
good. No sewer in the water.
They put that in, yeah.
So does the sewer go all the way to that?
Yeah, he said he's got sewer. He doesn't have water.
You live by Dad's cooking, correct, sir?
I live right there on the hill. Charge me $64 and something a month for sewer.
Just for sewer.
You don't have no water.
Man.
And the thing of that is, you're gravity fed too. You shouldn't have to pay that because you're gravity fed. You don't have anything to do with the pump system. It's all downhill here, I mean, really.
Is
You shouldn't have to
that
pay.
Blue Well also?
Yes, but Mr. Jenkins, that's Blue Well. The bill comes
Yeah,
from
that's
Blue
Blue
Well.
Well, that's where I pay it.
See, Blue Well's buying their water from Blue Well.
What's American Water? Are they finally gonna get it from American Water?
Not yet.
And about Mr. Taylor's with Glenwood, aren't you?
I was up until 2 months ago.
Okay.
I retired.
Okay.
But, yeah, Blue Well buys the water from us, and they buy it at a pretty good price, but it's getting ready to increase. If it hasn't already, that means most likely Blue Well will increase again.
So if we had more customers, like Pinnacle Rock, if we had more customers, they promised us more customers meant that our monthly bill would go down. They promised us last budget. They promised a lot.
Sure, what he was talking about a while ago, paying so much for 1,000, Blue Well was paying like $229 per 1,000, but that has increased probably by 30 to 60%, which means, like I said, Blue Well will be increasing their rates eventually. Because the vacuum system that we have on this sewer system is one of the most expensive sewer systems there ever could be. I know the engineer who developed it, and it was a mistake, you know, now. But if anything breaks down, it's so expensive to get the parts for it. That's one reason the sewer matter of fact, this sewer and our water bill is one of the highest in the state, except for up in Charlestown, past Morgantown.
So like he
That's
said,
the only one of
it's
these.
a sewer system, not a water system.
So Mr. Taylor, where are you getting your water now? Are you getting it from T-Dam, or are you getting it from True?
No. Green Valley gets their water from Glenwood, and we bought Dan Hill.
You did.
Right. So in the beginning of the first year, up until about the 1st of June, we pump out of Glenwood, and then we switched to Dan Hill.
And just for your information, Glenwood is gonna be drained, and they're
To
gonna
work
have
on.
to redo the dam up there.
Right, they're gonna be draining that way, and it's gonna be down for 18 months, probably take another
Yeah.
6 or 7 to fill it back up, maybe another 3 months to let it settle over for them to use it. The problem with that is, if it takes too long, and if we get into a dry spell, we could go into the spot of trouble.
Well, we have a backup up here in Brownville to help you with our 2 dams. That's where our water system used to come from. But that won't take that.
That won't help worry about.
So is any of the water coming from True? I thought Princeton or somebody over there thought theirs from over True.
Princeton, Oakville, Lashmead, and Bluefield all get their water from the water plant that's in True. Actually, in fact, Bluefield actually has their own plant there. That thing was just small. But yeah, those others in the southeast part of Mercer County get their water from the water plant that's located in True.
Does anybody else is it clear enough to all of us? Do we all understand what's going on? Any more questions while our guests are here? We appreciate so much that y'all have come and explained it all to us, because it's a whole lot easier to listen to you with one group and, okay, so-and-so said so-and-so.
Well, we're trying to help.
And we will see what the council discusses and what the people want, and let you know.
Okay,
So-
that's fine.
We appreciate
Then I'll be here this evening.
appreciate all of you. I will have to call you, yes. Because he will leave.
Get phone numbers. Okay.
I put that down.
Appointment plant they built Stafford Engineering.
I'm right there, you know where I'm
They built that plant, take your 800 households in Brownville. And the boy told me I'd gone out, he'll shut one whole section down for a week, and just use one section to clean the sewer. And that's another thing, that's attention area on the original section.
I guess it's
All right, thank you.
And thank Kelly Eller. We need We do have on the agenda, but it's all the way down at the bottom, to talk about an annexation question. And so, I'll tell you that we will talk about this at that same time if you want to, since we have it on the agenda. Number 4 on the agenda. So we can talk about, do we want to pursue this or what annexation? So we have reports, and we have, did everybody get this? And I didn't get in the minutes from it.
Oh, I sent them.
You were in the door on that.
I sent them by email.
Just look in. We'll do it next month. We have some next month. We'll do it next month. Okay, have you had time to look at the minutes? And if so, we'll follow.
Mayor Summer, I took my own minutes that night, and because I was elected as recorder to take minutes, and I have my own minutes that I would like to pass out for the emergency meeting.
All right, and you have in your packet the minutes that we took, that the clerk took for us.
Well, they're almost identical, I'm sure.
Probably. I think I just,
I think those are just, okay.
so you have the minutes and look through I have. Well, did you sign it? I'll take this one and sign. Okay, just take a minute to look through that if you don't mind. You can chat for a minute.
Did everyone else get the minutes that I sent you by email? I'm glad you did it, that's okay.
We'll cover that next month during so we haven't had time to look at them. Any questions about it? If not, we'll follow those with the others. So we should have the financials for the next day.
Mayor, I would like to know which minutes are being approved as the official minutes for the emergency.
All three of these. All three in the packet. The one we just handed out and the other two is in the packet.
I don't think we can have 6 minutes.
Well, these were taken officially. The ones that are in your packet were officially taken. So those are the official minutes.
I would like a roll call vote on who's accepting what, please.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes from, that were in your packet from April the 7th and May the 1st. Do I have a motion to approve? And that's the quicker ones.
What's the difference in the 2 minutes?
Who took them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they different?
Not really. No.
No.
But the recorder is the official person who takes the minutes at any meeting, and I believe if we accept minutes from someone else tonight for a meeting where I was present, that is setting a precedent, and I don't think we should, I do not think we should do that. I was present, I went home and I wrote the minutes, and there, I think, is only one difference, and that I was just now reading made the motion, but I'm pretty sure that mine is correct.
I know that the one that was submitted by our municipal clerk was correct. These minutes are correct.
They're not correct, and the municipal clerk was not elected by the citizens.
Yes, why was the clerk taking the minutes?
I would like a roll call. There was no motion, so there was no, nobody moved to vote. We did not have a motion.
Do we have a motion? It dies for lack of a motion.
So does that mean that neither minutes are approved?
We've never had this before, so.
I understand that, and I'm trying to keep it from ever happening again, because the reporter is responsible for taking a meeting's minutes.
Many times in the past, we have had other people take minutes, and they're all officials. And I'm looking at one. Many times Kelly Ellis has taken the minutes. Many times. If the reporter's not present, somebody takes minutes. Normally, it's the municipal clerk if that person is there. And we've had those in the past. They're all on site.
That I was present.
I had requested that the municipal clerk take minutes so that our discussion should be held without you having to take minutes.
On what authority, Mayor, did you request that?
We're talking, excuse me.
Well, I would ask that question on what authority did you have someone else do my job?
We've had this always.
I do not think so if the reporter is present.
Well, I've been at this a lot more years, and we have had that.
I was I'm calling.
Well, it'll be over in a month anyway, so don't worry about it.
Well,
Sorry, the voters will decide that. The voters elected her right now, and the mayor cannot.
That's enough.
The mayor.
You're not called on. That's enough. Susan, it's between.
I want to roll call. No,
It's not between us.
This is not between us.
This is our council.
I am not taking anything personal about this. I really am not looking at this from a personal standpoint. I am looking at it from the standpoint of when the mayor says the reporter's present, but she can't do her job, I'm appointing someone else to do it. That would be no different from telling a council meeting, you don't get to vote tonight because I'm appointing someone else to vote in your place. It is not good to set that precedent.
And I appreciate your comments. So it dies for lack of a motion. They will be filed with our minutes, with our regular minutes, all of them.
Can she, since she's the reporter, can she check and see if you can have those minutes? Because they're similar, to see if we can keep those minutes.
We can keep those.
I do not believe it. One person is doing the job of taking the minutes of the meeting, and if that person is present, that person is responsible for doing it. And it says that in the code that as what my job is as reporter, that I am responsible for taking the minutes. That is why I object, because I don't want to see this happen again.
Can you explain to the audience why you have someone else taking minutes if the reporter
No,
was here?
I cannot. We're talking.
You'd like to know?
No, I'm talking here.
Mayor, it's not between you and anyone else. The town of Lexington, we need to know why you think you have the authority to have someone else take minutes.
So we have some order here.
Y'all can do that now, without my help, right?
That's enough.
That's right.
Yeah, we are just, we're having a discussion, the council are here to meet and discuss. They can all be filed. Your name is on it, our clerk's name
I
is
will
on
so
it.
enter that in my minutes.
Please do. Can we have the financial report now?
I have another question, Mr. Mayor. I I sent you an email last week and asked for 2 items to be put on the agenda. And
You sent me an email after it was posted.
I did not. I came down here to see if it was posted. I sent it on Thursday.
It was posted that morning.
No, it was not. It was posted on Friday.
Oh, no, I beg your pardon. I had witnesses there who saw me posted. So I don't want to. We are.
The open meeting laws say that the minutes,
Can we-
sorry, the agenda can be
Can we-
updated
excuse me?
2 days before. You could have updated it.
If they please just.
Can we discuss what's on the agenda? This is a business matter.
I have 2.
You have a question?
Yes, I have 2 additional reports to hand out to people for the financial reports. One is for the current year, 22-23, that we are in right now. And we have, what we are required to do, and I know council has not had very much opportunity to work on budgets. But what we are required to do as a council is every month when we are given this financial report, we are required to look at budget control to make sure that we aren't going over in any one expenditure. Because you cannot move money from one category to another without doing a budget revision. And we have a pretty serious problem with being over in one particular area. I have some concerns about that. And I would like to suggest that we as a council schedule a special meeting to discuss just some problems that we have with our budgets right now. The second one that I'm going to give you is the 24 budget that I asked the other night if we could revisit the amounts that were in that, because when the council worked on the budget on March the 25th, John, Ellie, and the mayor and I, we budgeted the beginning balance as $31,075. And we did that because we were told that the amount we put there was the amount that was on the June 30th, 2022 statement at that time. I didn't think that that was right, and that's why I questioned it a couple of times. And I went back and looked at my notes from the meeting at Lucent. And what I found I had written in my notes was that we were to give our best estimate of what we think our balance will be on June 30th, this June, to get ready to move over to a new fiscal year.
You mean 2023?
Yes, that's right. And I do not think that we will have any more than approximately $11,000 carryover, because that's what we've been running, just about every month. I don't think we'll have that $31,000 that we had last year. And I think we need to meet and go over all of this and discuss it. It's impossible to tell exactly, what funds things are coming out of, because we haven't had access to any records except for the financial reports that we get. And they are helpful because they have the check numbers on there.
And so we can look to see what check numbers are missing. 46 checks are missing from times that we have not gotten a report. And until we have that, I don't think we really have any idea where our money is in the different account type codes. The other thing is that I did put the amount for the cost of the audit, the $12,500, in the cell that you told us. You told me to put that in $699, I think. And when I did that, it then did not show up as an expenditure. And so we not only are going to be short the 27,000 between the difference that we in our carryover money, but then another 12,500. So we are going to start from here very short, very short.
There was another mistake, when we were doing that budget, there's not going to be an election in 2024, but we did put election expenses on that, so that will have to be revised.
No, we don't have a meeting. That is true. And
I told you at that time to take that out.
Okay, well, I did not.
But those are the revisions that we have until the middle of July to do.
Well, Lou, I personally am not interested in the budget meeting to depict this until we have re-elections, because whoever is sitting here, the entire financial everything is going to end up being revamped. Because the person on this side is going to want more money over here, and the person on this side is going to want more money over there, and everything will change as we have new seats on council and sitting here. So it's, I mean, the budget was approved as is, we leave it alone. After the election, we proceed with the money that we have and the goals that we have for the town based on who we have sitting here making those decisions.
And that's,
May I say something?
in July, we revised the budget in July according to the audit.
I think as a council, though, if she's requesting us to sit down and talk about that again as a council, I think we need to do that. I mean, it doesn't matter if everything's gonna change coming next year or whatever. We need to set the precedent to sit down as a council and talk about things together.
How long was the budget? How long was the budget meeting that you guys sat down? Yes, that was pretty lengthy.
But I wasn't there for all of it. I wasn't there for half of it. So that's how I feel, out of respect. I just do. If it was me down there and I requested that, I would feel, I would want somebody. You all are my council, she's, it's just me. And I just think out of respect, we should do it. I don't care if, maybe if we all sit down and we start looking, we won't be there that long. And get on it.
John, you're not starting from scratch. You're looking.
I know, but maybe we won't be there.
I don't think it would take that long.
But I just feel like when somebody has a question like that, especially on the council, that's what we're here for. And I think we need to take consideration of talking it out amongst ourselves.
Well,
Well, like I say, it would be a good idea to have a meeting when, then as Andy says, this is gonna have to be all gone through afterwards anyhow. We could have a meeting.
And there was a meeting, like just went in March. And so being that we just had one and everything's getting ready to change, I just personally see it as wasted time.
Well, why is everything getting ready to change?
Because I don't know if I'm gonna sit here, you don't know if you're gonna sit here, she don't know if she's gonna sit
No, we
here.
should still end that year, our
But
budget.
according to the auditor's office, there's a date in July that we have to revise the budget.
Yes, and there's a date in June 15th, when is the last date that we can revise the current budget. And the current budget does need to be revised. This is just something that the other thing I need to discuss that I asked Lou to put on the agenda, that she apparently didn't get my email. I asked her to put on something for the elections, because we have some things we need to discuss about the election. And I'm just available any evening that you all would want to meet.
Are you talking budget or something?
I want to talk both budget and election. Those are the two things I asked you to put on the agenda.
In a special meeting?
Yes.
Okay, but Kelly, do you have any comment? John made his comment about what Mandy and Kelly and John said. We'll set a time that we can have a forum. So how do we feel about tonight's financial statement? That's what's on the table right now.
I haven't had an opportunity to look at it yet.
Okay, you will.
What is one end to the other?
That is the mowing service of Jasper.
I don't see anything on here for gasoline. What are we doing, how are we paying for our gasoline?
We have credit cards and I have a gasoline file. You can like that the next time I had how much we spent each month.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So I'll add that to the gas file.
There hasn't been anything on the budget in the last 2 meetings for gasoline.
All right, I have every month is in the file and I have all of their tickets. So anytime you want to see those, then I can give you copies.
Are we taking it out of general fund?
Yes. And that keeps it simple for every time.
I'm not questioning the gas, I'm questioning if it isn't on here, does it come out of the general fund balance? And how, to me, it doesn't balance then because
we'll do it a different way. We'll add that to next time.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? Since there was a question about it, I made a motion to approve the financial statement. Do I have a motion? Anyone? Maggie? Second? John? All those in favor? Opposed? Susan, opposed?
I'm opposed because I do not see how it balances.
All right, so we have all those in favor were Kelly, John, Kelly, Mandy, and opposed is Susan. Okay, thank you. And we have reports from police. Police report?
Sure, we can do that.
Please.
All right, for the last month, since our last meeting, we've got driving a bunch of arrests, no proof of insurance, possession of crack cocaine, possession of methamphetamine, 2 domestic violence petition, sir, altered mental status complaint, got to go check on crazy guy. The BOLO for the murder suspect, he's been traveling back and forth through here, coming from McDowell County to the Carolinas and Florida. We had a theft complaint. We had a BOLO for a guy on Route 52 that ended up He had medical issues when he was stopped. We had a disabled vehicle, and this morning we all had to go qualify with our firearms. And there were several other traffic stops, various kinds along the line.
Thank you. And do you want to make an announcement about our new police officer?
Yes, he is a certified police officer now, and he completed last Friday, and he's ready to go full-time.
And we're proud of him. And we have, all of our police department is certified, and our fire department, almost all are certified. And stand up and take a bow. Our new police officer, Aaron, if you don't know him. And he marched well and got his certificate. Fire department.
As of the last meeting, we ran 2 NDAs, 1 disabled vehicle, 4 structure fires, 1 fire alarm, the massive fire, big salve charge, as Manny mentioned earlier. They were there for, I wasn't here, so I don't know, they were there for several hours and through the night. Firefighter Don DeLong got certified in drug rescue as of Sunday, and then firefighters Justin Dunford, myself, James Cleary, Mackenzie Brown, we all got certified as of Sunday in vehicle electrification, it's not until people of course. And firefighter Frank DeWitt got recertified in his certification to teach CPR and first aid.
And there was another thank you that we want to do to all the people here. You were here for that fire, the big fire rock that we already had mentioned here. The fire department, the town, the police department wants to thank everybody.
Especially Rodney, who stepped up and made sure everybody had something.
We want a hand for Rodney. You do not know what Rodney did at the night of that fire that Mandy had asked about at Rock. His record service for jumping. Rodney was the hero. Everybody was a hero, of course, but Rodney was our own personal hero. He took water and Gatorade back and forth to the fire from here. People in town donated water, Gatorade, and some food. And he went over and above what a former firefighter from Woodfield would have done. And he was going up the mountain, I'm told, with a thing of water on one and a thing of Gatorade on the other, and walking up to make sure that there was liquid for all of our firefighters. We thank everybody. We especially thank our fire department, and we especially thank our volunteers from town.
Once everybody chipped in, I mean, everybody, a lot of people brought stuff in.
Oh, yes, everybody.
Russia sent a whole order of stuff up there. A lot of people.
Those people that are from Bradford, that don't live here anymore, they brought things.
And this is what we have here. We have this certified, qualified and certified police department, qualified and certified fire department, and qualified and certified town people. Everybody. And we thank everybody. And appreciate all of it. And then we have, I wanted you to take this, the agenda, because I have the calendar of events that are going to happen in May, and if you have any questions about them, I'll go through them pretty fast. The 12th, and this is Friday. We've done this before. Altogether, Arts is this week, and they will be here on the trolley that night. They're coming up to the corner shop. But they will be up and down the streets. And if you want to be open the way we were for other people and say hello, this is people from all over the county. So they didn't do it for 2 years because of COVID. So keep this, that's the 12th. The 13th on Saturday is our second annual Memorial Kayak Run for Zach Blankenship. Do y'all remember that we had that last year? And they stopped here in town, but they're going to go on down. We do not yet have the signs for the kayak docks yet. We're still working on that. But they'll clean the one, they'll leave it from Cooper's and they'll be selling down, so everybody go out and wave at them as they go by. And we're still remembering Zach Blankenship. Wherever, tell us why we're remembering Zach Blankenship. Everyone's fireman.
Actually, we had a fire down here just on 52 here. And it wasn't due to the fire, he had a brain aneurysm. I think he was in Charleston, they done brain surgery. And from that point, he passed on, and they did have a firefighter funeral for him. And he's well missed. He's well missed.
And he was honored through the county commission up this way, and we also have the county working with us on that. But this is so you know what's going on. And all day on the next Saturday, on May 20th, our local boy Glenn Goins is having a really special big day down at the Riverfront ATV. He's having religious speakers and music, and they're going to do an ATV ride too. So support him. On May the 23rd, we have auditors coming, accompanying, and they will be here all day. It took one day the last time. So we'll be seeing the auditors. On the 24th, we're having the annual media ride. And there should be a story maybe in the paper tomorrow about that one. That's when we have them come and ride ATVs, and anybody is welcome if you have an ATV and you want to ride that day. We'll leave at 10. That's CBD and WBA and all of them? Yes. And it's also Hatfield McCoy, they supply all the things, the helmets and things for us. So May 27th, we already know about the concert we're going to have. The Dave Watkins Band will be there, and Depot is going to do too. Richard's going to do that. Early voting starts May the 31st and goes on for 10 days. Now,
may I say something else too? Lee Dean is going to be here tomorrow. And I would like to invite anyone who would like to come and be trained tomorrow night. I'd like to do the meeting either in the fire station back here or in the office. It doesn't matter, but someone will need to let me know. What time will it be? They'll be here at 6 o'clock. Okay, thank you. All right, and I have one other thing. I'm just now looking at these emergency meetings, and I have a correction to make to them. It says here the levy cannot be more than 12.02, what was sent to auditor in the budget. I did not put the 12.02 in all by myself. I have a letter from the auditor, I'm sure Lou has a copy of it, saying that the reason we had to do the 12.02 is because property values increased so much in Bramwell that we fell under a law that says you cannot have more than 101% of a previous amount. And so the 12.02 was not because I put it in the budget. It was not. It was in the budget, but it was already pre-populated because of that law. And if you all will take the time to read it, I will send you a copy of the letter that I think the council should see, because it wasn't that I said the 12.02. I did not make a mistake to do that.
Okay, thank you. Now we have an annexation request number 4. And would you like to speak, Sharon, or do you want me to do this?
Just that, you know, I requested to be in the comment, so.
Yeah, and here's the thing, here's why it's on the agenda, we have to vote on this. Sharon's family home is the next house after the town limit stops. And so they have requested that they be put into the town, but this is a process that must be done by our town attorney, and it does cost a town attorney fee. That's why we have to vote on this. And I said we will also talk now about what you think about Pinnacle Rock since annexation is here, and we'll decide on that. These are not decided together, but they are connected.
Setting them up going towards Pinnacle Rock only helps them in their chances in getting public water and our chances of our water and sewer bills coming in. I can't see that necessarily being a bad thing. And as far as Sharon, she's more active than a lot of people that live right in the Great White. No problem making sure that you're and she takes care of the Bremer Cemetery and, lots of different things. So I have no problem of moving her business.
Because we can hand all of this at the same time to Jay. If he's working on one, he can work on the other. But you have to authorize that this happens because it's an expenditure. So, and you need to authorize, and you can do it with two different votes, not the same vote. You authorize, first of all, that we request that Jay look into including the Workman property. It's everything that goes right up to it is in the town. And it's what I said before about contiguous territory. It's the next one. It's not as simple as it used to be to do that.
Do we know what the expenditure is?
It probably maybe $1,000. He has to do all the legwork, and then the attorney takes it to the county commission. And it's finally the county commission that decides on this, not us. And it's the same about the Pinnacle deal. If we are not the final say on that, he would have to take all of this to the county commission, and Jay would have to do it. So I think that we need to have two different motions and votes, not just connect together.
So we need a motion for the Workman's and we need a motion for the board.
Yes, and we have it on the agenda, so we can have.
Well, I'm the first motion for the Workman's being included in the agenda.
I'll second it.
And Kelly. Any other comments? And this is the Workman only. And he will do all of that, and we'll let you know how it goes. And you can tell James. Did he ever work on it? Yeah. Okay. Tell him. Okay, you tell him that. Any more comments? If not, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. Now let's talk about Pinnacle. Are we going to pursue that for those people?
I'll make a motion to do.
But we asked him to continue with that. Okay, so Kelly.
Anytime you're gonna help and improve somebody, especially with water nowadays.
And maybe it will help all of us with this.
Well, they need it, but I think it will overflow into helping all of us, but they need it whether it benefits us later or not.
And if they want to be in the town, that is some revenue for the town. And the Workmans are aware of the revenue that would come from your utilities, all that. Okay, so have Mandy and Kelly, did y'all do that?
Did Mandy say? No, Pinnacle, I did share, and she did first, and I think somebody else seconded. Yeah, John did second. I agree, but he said.
And do we have any other? And I thank all those in favor. And I thank you for that. And another thing, before we adjourn, I have a request, Jackie. I have a request from Jackie Shahan, who would like to be on the agenda, and she would like to discuss the noise and the pet ordinances, as well as adding items to the agenda.
Do you have those ordinances in front of you?
No.
Okay, because I had ample time to get them so we could discuss them.
Well, we had discussed that before, that it was not signed.
Okay. So I'm just going to read this. I hope I don't come across as too agitated, but I'm very frustrated. At the November Town Council meeting, I addressed the animal control and noise ordinances and the lack of enforcement. Because I wasn't on the agenda, discussion was tabled till the next meeting, where it was stated I would be on the agenda and we would discuss it then. The next open meeting took place in March. Despite being told I would be on the agenda, as a precaution, I filed the appropriate paperwork to be on the agenda. It turns out when the agenda was publicized, I was not on it. I asked the mayor about this and she assured me I would be able to speak. I spoke at the meeting, but was informed since that wasn't on the agenda, no action could be taken. But at the next meeting, discussion would ensue. And I just have to interject, they weren't on the agenda, they spoke, that's fine, but then you took action on what they did. So, complete different procedures, but anyway.
Do you mind if you'll leave me a copy of your letter?
Yeah, but anyway, at the April meeting, the topic was not brought up. At the April meeting, the topic was not brought up. In the last 6 months, the only discussion ever regarding these ordinances has been me informing the council to take action and rectify the matter. As to the animal control and noise ordinances, they need to be effective, signed, and enforced. Having 4 suffering animals barking all the time, just pleading for some comfort or attention is untenable. Having animals roam freely, which resulted in their biting pedestrians and then being hit by cars, is also untenable. Lastly, as Councilman Fink pointed out, she is the owner of some of these pets, so she needs to recuse herself from voting on the ordinances. Now it's time for the council to take this issue up.
Recuse yourself from voting? Your letter could have left out being hit by the car, because that was actually my driveway, not in town. And it was a UPS driver that actually drove into the shop to come and get me and held my hand while I cried and my dog died. It wasn't because he was running around town, it was because he was playing with the UPS truck.
It can happen though.
It can happen, you're right.
They shouldn't be running free.
He's not anymore. Thanks for bringing him up.
About a week ago, there was one I took a picture of him.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I have a video of a dog named Blue that lives up on Bramwell Hill that was at my house all week, but he went home. I've got another dog named Maggie, don't know where he lives. We have another dog down the road that lives, the people who run the pop shop. Yes, there are more dogs or cats.
Yes.
That run in
for the
Bramwell.
town. We need
There are
to
also
protect
deer
parking.
and bears. I have bears that take trash. Let's talk about bears. No?
Well, let's get the ordinance out and see what it says and sign it.
Well, since it's lost and signed, we couldn't find the signature on it, and it is not an effective ordinance.
So the town council needs to write up an ordinance regarding animal control and noise. Are we gonna put it on for 6 more months?
But dogs bark everywhere. So what are you gonna do? You're complaining because the dog is outside on a chain, but then you're complaining that the dogs are roaming free.
I'm complaining that there's a dog chained right below my house that barks nonstop, and I get texts throughout the night saying,
The dog from the cop shop will bite anybody.
yeah.
And you obviously don't really care, you're worried about baby dogs?
We bring that dog in every day.
I'm talking about pets and.
No, you're not. You're pointing one person out.
No, she was.
No, you're pointing one person out.
We have some more.
Annette, did you have a question, Annette?
I do have a question. Does it matter if it's one person or 10 people? If an animal is continuously barking and annoying all hours of the day and night, then it could be addressed individually without pointing a finger at one person.
Well, that's what she. It wouldn't have been one person, it would not have been one person until she mentioned the dog died. That's where the letter was specifically directed. So if you want to mail the letter to me instead of like talking through the fence because we're neighbors, just get my address because you obviously did that with your candidate letter. If we want to talk about a dog ordinance with town, we can discuss the whole town, but we don't need to address me and the town in one sentence.
The reason you have signed ordinances is so that neighbors don't have the conflict. It's on the books, you enforce it, and then you don't have to go battling with your neighbor because everyone agrees this is what this.
I wasn't aware that I had to battle with the neighbor. I thought I could have a conversation.
You're all right. You thought wrong.
After the letter about the dead dog, you're right, I got a little upset. That's true. Moving on. What do we need to finish, Lou?
So we're not gonna talk about the ordinance, we're not gonna be. I would talk about the ordinance.
The last page had disappeared. And so legally, we have not.
So you need to make the ordinance line on the agenda.
There was never an issue with the This council isn't able to do that, which is why some people need to be voted off. Oh, you're like,
Screaming at everyone. Can we have a civil conversation?
Obviously, you can around here.
It seems that way.
So anyway, there is an entire book of ordinances, some are signed and some are not. Many of them need redone. And after the new election, the whole book is probably gonna be redone, because whoever is sitting here needs to. I can't help what wasn't addressed 20 years ago. We can only do what we have now.
Why are we calling off everything on the next election?
Should've been done with everything. No, okay. I'm still in charge. So
You stay in charge.
So Jackie, here's what we have to do. We have to make a new ordinance, and to do that, it takes 2 months. We have a reading of 2 different months. First, it has to be written. And does the council like the way it's written, or do we want to change anything?
You had this November when she first brought it up.
Yeah.
Work on that.
We did not work on that.
No.
But right now, this is the way, this is the process.
Do you need to say the new one? You can just take the one you had, read it tonight, vote on it tonight, next month, vote on it again.
No, the one we have now needs to be redone, Mayor.
I know that.
It's terrible. It needs to be redone.
And it was, different things need to be addressed maybe now that were not a part of what we addressed then. We have to put it in. So that's the way that it would have to be done. It would have to be done in 2 steps. But it wasn't.
So now what's the next, like, okay, so she's asking, where can we start this process?
All right, here's the way we do legally. We have our town attorney look over our ordinance that exists now and says, what would look good this way or that way, write it in a legal way, and then draw to the council, what do you think? And everybody reads it. And then if that first reading is approved, that's what it's called. Then we do it the next month, it's the second reading, and then it is ordinance is a law.
So between now and next month, can he look over it and?
Well, he could. Okay. But
Is there a way for people to put in a suggestion, like, so that?
That's the idea.
Because, for instance, we know this is an ongoing problem. For instance, we couldn't walk down by Sibley's house, the dogs were constantly coming out. That's happened. We had instances with people, neighbors, we had an incident with Molly Robinette and Georgia Robertson had their dogs walking by and dogs attacking others. So I think it'd be really important if you could all give a suggestion and then have that, because my concern may not be the same as my neighbor's concern.
And here's the way, that's what the first reading is all about. Any changes in it, any additions in it, and that's what you have to do.
The process is it's something that you can address the council tonight to say, we want to move forward with this. That way it doesn't fall between the cracks again, and next month then it would be able to start action now. Is it something they have to say?
Now we have to, it will be on the agenda. Jackie talked about it.
Right.
Put on our agenda next week, we'll put it in the process.
But I'm just saying between now and next month, does any traction happen? Like, will that go to the attorney?
I can do that if you would like. I can send you
That way there's movement within the months.
You can let us know, you can let us know. Like I said, I'm not going
I appreciate that you're making some headway, but why these gentlemen, which I think we all are in agreement that water to everyone is a no-brainer. But why is that was just voted on, but this has been addressed since, hasn't not been addressed since November, and asked you to shut it off again.
Well, no, it is starting, I said we'll start tonight.
She was on the agenda, they were not. But yet,
Well,
you're already voted on that, But you can't take any forward action.
Her question was following up on the exact same thing. Her question is still getting movement on Jackie's request. It's the same, Jackie wants movement, and she's saying,
I was asking you, ma'am. I was asking.
I don't have to have your permission to speak.
Actually.
Actually, I don't.
Your game, yes, you can yell over everyone, it's normal.
I'm not yelling over anybody, I'm just making sure you hear me.
On recording, everybody, you were yelling over the entire room. But my question was addressed to the mayor, not yourself.
And I answered it. Go ahead, Mayor Lou.
Thank you for your absolute professionalism.
You're
Would you
welcome.
like to go along with this and ask Jay to look into it?
Sure.
I'll have to send him our ordinance, and maybe some of it's obsolete now, Jackie. Because that was written, I think,
Well, I mean, we should revisit it and just see what, look at it.
For people that have requests and suggestions, how do they go about providing those? Do they put them in writing and deliver them?
Well, usually we have suggestions on the first reading.
That's what it's supposed to be done. First reading, you get input from everybody out here. You put something together, just a rough draft. You have a first reading to get information, input from your people that live in your community. They get this week at the council meeting. You take their suggestions, you try to put something together that pleases everybody. And then the next meeting, you have your second reading. If everybody's happy, there's not a problem with it, you pass it. And it's that simple. I mean, pretty much.
Okay, did I have a motion that we send this to Jay?
I did.
Kelly did that one. And second? Kelly. Kelly. So, all those in favor? Okay. Jackie, that's, and if you look at a copy of the
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, I think it was real productive.